Hello and welcome to TMT. This is Dr. Parul Singhal and I'm going to take you to a journey of advertising where I'm going to cover the basics of advertising. Now, what is advertising? Every day ads are bombarded to you. You wake up in the bed, you have a notification. Please take our loans. You see out of the window, you see a hoarding. Please buy us. You pick up a newspaper and there are classified ads, there are display ads. You switch on your television and there is this ad which says, please watch us. Now this all is an advertising game. And today I'm going to take you to the definition of advertising, the advertising mix, and how many different types of advertising do we have. Advertising can be traced to ancient civilizations. It was an important concept in the capitalized economies in the 19th century. With proliferation of media, it increased even more. You can have the traces of advertising in papyrus, bamboo flutes. You had copper prints that would give you a poster ad. You had signboards, you had town criers. And now with the proliferation of media that is exploding on a digital platform, the ways are many. Now let's talk about a definition. Advertising comes from a Latin word which means advertere. It means to turn the mind towards. And aren't we turning our mind every day towards these ads, towards these promotions? Advertising is a paid form of non-personal presentation and promotion of goods, ideas, and services by an identified sponsor. Paid because the companies are paying heavily to these advertising agencies to display their ads. It is a non-personal communication because you're not reaching every single individual one-on-one. You're reaching them through a medium. And it is a promotion. Why do we advertise? Because I want to sell more. I want to make more profits. I want to make more shares. So it is a promotion of ideas, goods, or services by an identified sponsor. Meaning, if I'm advertising, you should be aware about my name. Now, why is advertising important? Because you can introduce new products with a bang and everybody will come to know about it. It also increases the demand of the existing products. It helps to fight competition. Don't you see a war in KFC, McDonald's, Burger King every day? It comes to economies of scale. Economies of scale means when advertising increases, the demand increases, the promotion increases, the sales increases, and so the production comes down per unit cost. It creates a good public image. It increases the standard of living because we get to have more products which are branded and better in quality. It also initiates R&D in the organization because you get to have a lot of funds which can be invested wisely to develop new products. It also educates people. There are certain ads which are only displayed or which are only communicated to increase awareness about social concerns like polio vaccination, anti-drug drives, anti-drinking and driving campaigns. All of these are such examples. It develops the society as a whole and it sustains the press and the media. How do the newspapers otherwise survive if it's not because of advertising? These are some of the campaigns that will show you the importance and the benefits of advertising. For example, the first ad shows Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. We have been communicated this concept through advertising. Nestle talks about a range of products that they offer. And if you see, this is a very different advertising which talks about competition. There was this ad which said, we have changed. Jet Airways had come up with this ad. The next day, it was, we made them change. Kingfisher wanted to take the pie. The third day, you had the Go Air ad, which said, we've not changed. We are still the smartest way to fly. Isn't it smart advertising? All of this is just because you want to make your presence more prominent in the market. Now, let's talk about some of the features of advertising. It is communication, but obviously it is a paid form. It is non-personal. We've already discussed it in the definition. It is done by an identified sponsor because if I'm paying for it, you better should know that I have paid. There are different objectives of promotion and advertising that we are going to take on. It can take the help of one or more mediums depending on the product, depending on the customer, depending on the situation, and obviously how much money do you have in your pocket. And it is available to a variety of customers. It increases the sales and profitability, and that is what is the gist of advertising. This is a simple communication process that defines how communication takes place between a sender and a recipient. The sender encodes the message, and if we translate this particular process in terms of advertising, you will find out that the identified sponsor, the company, through advertising agency encodes, that is, they make the ad and they send it to the channel. The channel are medium of advertising like newspapers, broadcast, internet. There could be a number of different channels. And here the recipients would be the customers, because the customers are the ones that we want to influence. They are the ones who are going to buy my product. So depending on their perception, attitudes, beliefs, they are going to decode this ad, and then there will be a feedback. The feedback could be in terms of sales. It could be in terms of change of attitudes. It could also be in change of some kind of benefit that I'm reaping. So there is a particular positioning that comes out of this entire process that can be summed up in the communication process. Now, we are going to talk about the advertising mix that talks about the 5 M's of advertising. These 5 M's are mission, money, message, media, and measurement. I'm repeating: mission, money, message, media, and measurement. They make the 5 major decisions in developing an advertising program, and this is what is called the 5 M's. Mission: what are the objectives of the advertising campaign? Money: how much budget they require to achieve these objectives? Message: what message and message strategy will be used? Media: what type of media vehicles will be used to deliver this message? And the last, the most important, if I'm paying, I might as well find out what is the sales, what is the feedback, and what is the return I'm going to get. So measurement is how should be the results of advertising campaign or programs be evaluated. This diagram specifically shows each M in detail. Mission: advertising objectives can be classified on the basis of the aim, whether it be to inform, that is generally true during the pioneering stage of a product category, where the objective is building a primary demand. It could be telling the market about a new product, suggesting new uses for the product, informing the product, informing the customers how the product works, describing available services, correcting any false impressions they may be having, or just building a company image. At the second stage of PLC, you could also have to persuade. Most ads are made with the aim of persuasion. Such ads aim at building a selective brand. And the third one is to remind. Such ads are highly effective at the maturity stage. The aim is to keep the customers engaged and thinking about the product. The second M is money. It deals with deciding on the advertising budget, which may be depending on, or the budget may be allocated on the basis of the departments, on the basis of the calendar, on the basis of the specific geographic market rations. There are specific factors to be considered when you're setting an advertising budget. It could be the stage in the PLC. New products typically receive large advertising budget. It's like when a newborn baby has a party. You need to spend more just to announce that yes, we have a new member in the family. It is done to gain consumer trial, and established brands are usually supported with lower advertising budgets as compared to the sales. The second one is market share and consumer base. High market share brands usually require less advertising expenditure as a percentage of sales to maintain their share. To build share by increasing market size requires large expenditures. Additionally, on a cost per impression basis, it is less expensive to reach customers of a widely used brand than to reach customers to a lower share brands. The third one is competition and clutter. In a market with a large number of competitors and high advertising spending, a brand must advertise heavily to be heard above the noise of the clutter. Even simple clutter from advertisements not directly competitive to the brand creates the need for heavier advertising. Advertising frequency is another factor. The number of repetitions you have, it is most heavily advertised product because you need to put across the brand's message to the consumer because it's got a major impact. And the next one is product suitability and substitutability. Brands in the commodity class like cigarettes, beers, soft drink, they require heavy advertising to establish a different image. Advertising is also important when a brand can offer unique physical benefits or features. Let's go to the third M, that is message. Message generation can be done in following ways. It could be inductive, it could be deductive. Deductive means there is a proposed framework advertising messages use and buyers expect 4 types of rewards from a product. It could be rational, it could be sensory, it could be social, or it could be just satisfaction. By inductive, I mean that by talking to consumers, dealers, experts, and competitors, consumers are a major source of good ideas. Their feelings about the product, its strength, weaknesses, gives enough information that could add and aid the message generation process. Message evaluation selection is the point, like before deciding about the final message to be sent, a good advertiser always evaluates the various alternative messages. Often, a good advertising campaign focuses on at least one core selling benefit or the USP. The advertising message can be rated on its desirability, exclusiveness, and believability. The message must and always first say something desirable or interesting about the product or the service. The next one is message execution. The impact of a message depends not only upon what is said, but also on how it is said. Some ads aim for rational positioning and others for emotional positioning. While executing a message, the style, tone, words, and format for execution are very important and they must be kept in mind. Social responsibility review can also be understood as every organization that earns a profit has some or the other responsibility towards the public, towards the society, and such aspects should also be covered in advertising. The classic example would be Tata Tea's Jago Re Abhiyan. Let's talk about the fourth M, that is media. It is considered while making an ad program, and media is the most important part because this is what connects you, the firm, to the consumers. There are certain steps that need to be followed while you are talking about media, and reach, frequency, and impact variables are importantly to be considered. Reach is how many consumers are you influencing, and frequency is that particular consumer has seen your ad how many times, or how many times was he bombarded with that ad. You have different major media types that could be print, broadcast, digital, outdoor forms, and we are going to discuss all of this later. Media timing is very important. The segment that is the prime time between 8 to 10 is the maximum ads that you see, and it is the most expensive time because that is a time when you view certain soap opera, certain channels, and it is a family time. So when you're bonding over food, this is the time where these media companies generate maximum profits. Geographical media allocation is also an important variable. If you're just confining your ads to a local level, it's going to be cheaper, but when you're taking it to an international level, it's obviously going to be higher. The last M that we are going to discuss today is measurement. The evaluation of the effectiveness of your ad campaign is very important, as it always helps in preventing the further wastage of money, and it also helps in making necessary corrections that are significant and vital for further advertising programs. Researching the effectiveness of the ads is the most used method of evaluating the effectiveness of ads. Research, whether it be communication effect research or sales effective research. Any or both could be used to enhance your effectiveness of the ads, and also ensuring that you do not waste time, you do not waste resources, and you do not waste a lot of creativity the next time you're making an ad. It could be pre-testing. That means an assessment can be done of ads for its effectiveness before it is actually used. The second could be a post-testing, where the assessment of an ad's effectiveness is done after the ad is played, which could be unaided recall or an aided recall. So in a nutshell, measurement is the most vital key of ads, because that ensures your effectiveness and the money that you're going to spend the next time, and also in which channel are you going to spend. Since we were talking about product life cycle, this is just a visual that is going to tell you that each product is in a different stage of life cycle. If you see smart cars, they could be in introduction stage. You see Wi-Fi's, HDTV, GPS system, they are in the growth stage. MP3 players, cell phones, they are in the maturity stage. And obviously a pay phone or a desktop is in a declining stage. So depending on the stage a product is, the kind of money, the kind of advertising, the kind of objectives that you're going to start with is going to vary. Now let's talk about the classification of ads. These are the 4 ways in which you can classify ads: on the basis of media, on the basis of audience, on the basis of area, and on the basis of functions. Let's talk about the first one, that is area. On the basis of area means on the basis of geography. It could be on a local level, it could be on a regional level, it could be on the national level, or it could also be on an international level. If you can see the slide, you will understand that an ad of Reliance Fresh is obviously at a local level, because the consumers from a specific kilometer are going to go to that shop and buy the product. When you're talking about a Kerala cookbook, it could be taken as a regional ad because it depicts a specific state. One of the many things you needn't carry aboard Air India. This is a typical national ad because it talks about the Indian feelings about food. And KFC has got an international brand, and the way they advertise is usually a uniform way where they are depicting their brand KFC. That is an international ad. The second basis of classifying ad is on the basis of audience. The consumers could be the audience, the industrial partners could be an audience, trade could be an audience, and professionals could also be an audience. When you make ads from a producer to the wholesaler, retailer, distributor, it is strategically important to establish good relations with all of these partners. When you're talking about trade advertising, it means from a producer to the wholesaler, to the retailer, to the distributor, because it is very important strategically to establish good relations with them. It is the most cost-effective way to communicate, and it usually happens through journals because you can reach these trade partners through that. When you're talking about a professional advertising, when the ads for products which are specifically made for professionals such as lawyers, consultants, doctors, engineers, there could be kits which are required for them. When you make ads for them, it becomes a professional advertisement. When we are talking about industrial ads, it is more about talking about products that are used by industries from B to B. It could be raw materials, it could be lubricants, it could be logistics, it could be supply partners, and this is what is industrial advertising campaigns. Consumer advertising is what you see every single day. It is when the companies advertise for a single consumer. It could be for FMCG, it could be for electronic appliances, it could be accessories, it could be homes. Anything from B to C is consumer advertising. These are some of the examples. Consumer products bought by final consumers for personal consumption. They could differ in the way the consumers buy them. This is a typical consumer ad. Industrial products are used for further processing or for the use of conduct in business. That is industrial advertising. The Google AdWords professional certification training is for professionals. And when you see on the right hand side, it is Chupa Chups ka ad, which is talking about displays that are healthy. So when you're talking to these partners in business, it is known as trade advertising. The fourth classification is on the basis of media. Press, that is journals, anything that goes in print, newspapers, magazines, posters, they are all examples of press media. Broadcasting is television, radio. Outdoor is also known as out-of-home advertising. Your billboards, your digital signboards, the sandwich man, the sky walking, everything is outdoors. Others usually include the internet ads, the digital platform, the social media advertising, and these are some of the examples that display. For example, the Nescafe ad is about the press because it is a printed ad. The star channels, the mosaic that you see here is an example of broadcast ad because these are channels which are used to carry out these ads. The Coca-Cola Zero that you can see is an example of outdoor advertising. When you're talking about the Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, these are all examples of digital platforms which are very intelligently used to lure the audience. Now, the simple cigarette packet is an example of ad that also shows that cancer kills. You're going to lose your teeth if you're not going to quit smoking. The last one is on the basis of functions. It could be direct or indirect action when you lure the customers to just go into the market and buy. That is direct action. Indirect action is you're trying to build the rapport with the consumers, saying and making them believe that the product is worth it, it is good enough, and they should try. The second one is primary and selective. When you start talking about the product in general, say for example, when Nokia came into the market, they had to introduce the concept of mobile phones to the consumers. That was primary advertising because people did not know what is a mobile phone. But when people came to know about the mobile phone, they had to talk about their brand. That is selective advertising. So when Nokia starts advertising about Nokia 1100, which is obviously not in use now, it is known as selective advertising because you're trying to build a brand awareness about that product. The third one is, it could be talking about a product in specific. For example, Dove is not a soap. It is 1/4 moisturizing bar. I'm talking about a product. It is very, very specific. But when I talk about HUL, when I talk about HP, I talk about Accenture, it is the image that I want to create about that particular company. Tata is the most trusted brand. That is image advertising. There are certain examples to prove my point. For example, NECC says that the best source of nutrition is also the most affordable one, which is an egg. It is primary advertising. Almonds are good for health. It is primary advertising. California almonds are good for health. That is selective advertising. The best coffee for the best you is a product advertising. It could be a company talking about, is your business in shape to compete? This is corporate image advertising. My last slide is just food for thought. It shows that different brands have different colors. Like a rainbow, every color depicts something. Every brand cannot use all the colors, but there is a specific way of finding out which colors are most suitable for which product categories. This is the food for thought. Please go through it. Thank you for your time.